Hi friends, welcome. We're going to be drawing a snow globe today. You can put whatever you want in your snow globe. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do in mine in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I like to start with the bottom, so I'm going to make my line down here for the base. I'm going to start with a slightly curved line. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go all the way to the sides though. Then I'm going to add in two diagonal lines, and I want to make sure they're pretty even with one another. Make sure of that. And then I'm going to add in two lines that are going to be across the bottom here. I don't really want them to touch though. So on this one, I'm going to make it just a little bit longer there. That uneven look looks awesome. Now I'm going to add the very bottom. With this, I'm going to add two curved lines, making sure that they're super even before I draw a connecting curved line to make them touch. After I get done with this, I think I want to add a little bit of snow to mine, so I'm going to add a wiggle line that goes across. I like my wiggles a little uneven. Now I'm going to get ready to draw the globe. It's a really good reminder to make sure you make a dot at the top so that you stretch all the way up. And then you're slowly going to start to draw your circle. I suggest that you draw it really light in case you make a mistake. It's much easier to fix it then. Now I can see I made a little mistake over here, so I'm going to fix it first. I'm going to redraw my line, making sure I don't make the same mistake twice, and then erase that line that I didn't love. Now I'm going to get ready to draw my penguin and my tree, but you can put whatever you want in yours. You don't have to put the same thing I put in mine. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my penguin here, and I'm going to start by putting in his head. I'm going to start with two slightly curved lines, mapping that out. And then I think I want my penguin to have a scarf on. So I'm going to draw a curved line that goes just a little bit past those two headlines. Draw a line that goes down on one side, one that goes down on the other. And then before I connect them, I want to add the longer part of the scarf. So I add a little rainbow here, and then I'm going to stretch it down to where it would be on his belly and add a wiggle line to connect them. Now I can draw the bottom part of his scarf, so I'm going to draw it into that other part. Now I'm going to get ready to draw his hat. So I'm going to add a slightly longer line than the head. And then I'm going to draw a curved line around, wrapping it around there. So now it looks like it's a little tube that goes around. Now I'm going to draw the bottom part of the hat. I always suggest drawing the bottom part first rather than wrapping it all the way around. So I'm going to start with a line that wiggles down just a little bit. And then I'm going to go up to the top. And this one's going to wrap all the way around and connect to that bottom. It's really important that it connects down there. So I'm going to draw that line around, and then I'm going to draw it to connect. And if they don't connect right there, you can always draw a little extra. I like to add a little poof ball on the bottom, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Now I'm going to draw the eyes. So I'm going to do two ovals. And then if you want, after that, you can fill them in. I'm going to draw a curved line for the mouth and then connect it on the bottom as well. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started on my penguin's body. This is going to be a little bit tricky because you have to eyeball it and make sure that you leave enough room for your feet. So I'm going to draw a little tiny line where the head would come through on the other side of the scarf. And then I'm going to draw a curved line down and around. And I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. So it should connect in a round line, leaving that little bit of space. Then I'm going to give him his belly. So I'm going to do a nice big rainbow line there, skipping around the scarf. He needs arms, so I'm going to draw two diagonal lines out and connect them with a curve. He's looking so cute, but I think he still needs his feet. So I'm going to add two diagonal lines. That's for 1 foot. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So two more diagonal lines there. And then I'm going to connect them with 3 mountains. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And now he's got some really cute penguin feet. He looks awesome, and now I think it's ready for my tree. When I do my tree, I like to do my tree in different sections. So I am going to start near the top, leaving a little room if you want to for a star or something. And I'm going to add a little mountain peak there, and then I'm going to connect it with a wiggle. I'm going to do another layer of my tree now, going on the other side of that wiggle line. I'm going to draw 2 diagonal lines that go down, and I'm going to connect them with another wiggle. I want a third tier, so I'm going to do another set, 2 more diagonal lines. This one has to skip around his hat just a little bit. Connect them there, and one more. So I'm going to draw one more down, skip around his arm, and then I'm going to connect that with a wiggle line as well. Now my tree does need a stump, so I'm going to add a rectangle at the bottom. Looks great. I think that I need to add some snow on the ground. We really want to ground our penguin and our tree in. So I'm going to add a horizon line that runs along the backside. So it looks like that my tree and my penguin are actually sitting on something. I'm going to add some little tiny circles around it so that it looks like there is snow falling down around my tree and around my penguin. And the last thing I want to do is add those glare lines. If this was a real snow globe, I would have a glare on there. So I'm going to add a couple of long, skinny ovals on one side so it looks like there's light hitting and reflecting off of it. This looks awesome so far. I'm so excited. The next thing I want to do is I want to outline everything in Sharpie. If you're in my class, you know that I love using Sharpies. So I'm going to speed this up here. And you can see that I trace everything in Sharpie. Sorry, my head gets in the way a little bit here. I got really into my artwork. You can always pause the video and you can trace yours in a black marker if you want, and you definitely don't have to if you don't have one available. After I trace all of my objects in Sharpie, I'm going to get out my coloring supplies. I like to use a combination of supplies. So when I grab my stuff here in a second, I'm going to make sure that I grab both markers and crayons. I think it's really great when I use a combination of both markers and crayons that you can see I'm doing here, because it gives my picture more texture and it makes it more interesting to look at. So I'm going to keep going and speeding along. You can always stop and pause the video if you want to copy me, but I would really love to see what you do all on your own. I always like to add a little ornaments on my trees. I think it's super cute. You'll notice that I'm coloring really lightly with my green crayon because now I'm going to go in using the same green and pressing harder to make it look like my tree has texture. One thing that I also really like to do is make matching scarves and hats, so I'm going to add little snowflakes on my hat too. He's so cute. With a light blue, I'm going to go in and add a background, leaving open those glare lines and my snowflakes, because I think those should stay white. And then the last thing I want to do here is just add a little shadow. So I took a black and just added a couple marks for that shadow line. I chose a red for my base, but you can choose whatever you want. Add a couple more texture lines in with a marker. And I think I'm all done. This was such a fun project. I can't wait to see what you guys make. Show me your snow globes.